Howdy, Daisy Air Gunners. We're back today, and we're kind of a special one here. This is a standard 1938B Red Ryder. This is one you would find today, or the ones that we had when we were younger, to the point in the 80s, 90s, so on and so forth. Now this is an interesting story behind this one, and I'll try to be quick with this. I had a good friend of mine. He was actually one of my best friend, and he had passed away. And before that, he gave me a call one day, and he was having some hedges trimmed in front of his house. And he had called me, and he said, "Dude," he said, "I know you're into these Red Riders." He said, "The crew that's doing the landscaping out here found something in the hedges." Yes, they found this growed into the core of a hedge. Don't know how long it was there, but I'm telling you, this rifle, it was crazy to see. This is one I kick myself to this day. I wished I had taken before and after pictures. All the metal black on this gun here was gray. It had been weathered so much, but oddly enough, the gun had no rust on it. The paint had held up and did its job and protected it, but it was like slate, like chalk, or it just washed, wet, dry, so on and so forth. The the stock alone was like half in the back stock was half in dirt. The way it was in the bush was how it was described was about like this, and there was dirt along this side, and it was leaned up against the back too. So, but the stock was it was crazy. It was just dry rotted, totally dry rotted. So took it apart, like in polished the paint off first is what I did. Use like a paste wax and use regular car wax and so on until I got a shine back again. So this paint on these it just held up. And like I said, this is one of the older ones right here. It's similar to my original Daisy. That'll be coming to the channel soon. This is just model 1938B out of Rogers, Arkansas. It's not one of the newer ones to that point. So the best we can fix this one was probably in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, possibly. It was left in a bush in somebody's front yard. So, like, beyond having to do the metal surface to, bring it back, put a sheen to it, and all that, which came together very nicely. I mean, there are a few spots that I couldn't do nothing with, but I was just amazed that it held up what it did. Of course, I put the high-vis sight on it because I did a little upgrade because I wanted to run it. But now, as far as the internals with this one, the spring and plunger assembly was shot. Like, it was just caked, coated in rust. And the seal in it, and the front seal, was just degraded beyond measure. It was just gone. So that all had to be replaced. The bore where the plunger slides, it had some rust towards the rear, but I was able to brush that out, smooth it out, and restore, bring that back. Now, the barrel itself had to be replaced, where it was on an up tilt, and I'm sure all the water over time, it was totally clogged shut with rust. So I had to replace it with a newer barrel out of a newer model. But after all that, the mech run fine. Now the stock was the next thing here. You can tell by looking at the stock, it's got an unusual grain to it because that's like I said, that was originally dry rot, the dark spots and all that. But it's interesting what character that gave it like that. Like, all I did when I took the stock set off was just sand it lightly to get the crud off of it, and then I just started coating it. I just coated it with true oil. This thing was like creosote. It just kept sucking it up and kept sucking it up. It was so dry rotted out. The strength of this stock now is coming from probably the true oil, the lacquer, and the wood. That's because I would say this was so fragile I could have just crushed it in my hand. This is the dry rot. So to the rear stock, you can really see, like, if you're familiar with what wood does in dirt and stuff. Let's see. This side isn't really bad. The branding of Red Ryder shows up still pretty good with that. Didn't have to sand too much away to be able to keep that, and I'm really proud of that. Now this side is interesting. You can see here, if like I said, if you're familiar with how wood dry rots and stuff, this would look familiar. Against the earth and ground, that's what you get. When you pick up a piece of wood off the ground, that's what that looked like. Like I said, all I did was just clean that mess off and then lightly sand it smooth. And then I started putting the clear coat on it. And that's what I came up with. And I think that this gun has some really interesting character to it after that. It, like the ripples and all that, this is all from the rot, the dry rot. But, it came around. Really, really interesting. There's some of what the internal, because I didn't finish that side, looked like, how dry it was. But yeah, that's it's just got an unusual grain to it for that. It almost makes you want to buy a new gun and set it out somewhere and see if you can achieve that kind of look to the point, because that grain it's really so in depth and stunning looking. But of course, you hear the pride in my voice. I am proud of this one after all the work that I put into it and everything. I really, really love this rifle, and I'm so blessed that my buddy gave this to me before he passed. And he was shocked. I remember when I brought it down there and showed it to him, he was utterly stunned as to what this gun looked like after the fact. I don't think that he believed that it was the same one, but it took some elbow grease and a lot of time, a lot of off time to achieve that. But anything's possible, I guess, if you put your mind to it. And yeah, this is a keeper, and it's a good runner now. It really is a good thumper actually. Little, yeah, it runs great. So I figured we'd share this with you today and get your thought on it, what you think, and all that. And it's just an interesting story and just something to look out for when you're out and about and you see something that just looks, oh gosh, I'd never fool with that. Look beyond that sometimes. You never know what you could see once you put in the work and the time and what you might get from that. So, guys, thanks for joining in. We'll be taking this one out back soon and doing some video of shooting some stuff with it, and hope to see you all in those videos. And in the meantime, if you like what you see, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, check out our other content. We've got a lot more coming, and a lot of stuff in our library is getting built too in the playlist. So we appreciate you watching. And until the next one, let's try to keep these smooth bores in the bullseye. Take care, guys.